Hey, welcome everybody. I'm here at home in my kitchen alone. Christine's not here today. And I'm really quite excited as I start this vlog series on how to grow spiritually. And although I speak about how to grow spiritually, I hope you don't think that this is kind of a one-dimensional view of growth. You see, growing spiritually is influenced by how I'm going to grow the organization that I've been leading, or how I'm going to grow as a human being, or how I'm going to grow the family dynamics that I'm a part of. So I think the principles that I want to share with you over the next 4 vlogs will help you to grow spiritually, but help you to grow in whatever area of life that you're needing to experience growth. The first thing I want to speak about is the area of our mind, the way we think. And the way we think is going to determine so hugely around the way in which we will grow. The way we think about our businesses is going to affect the growth of our business. The way we think about our families will influence the way that our families will grow as well. Sometimes the things that we've held to all our lives, they need to be scrutinized again. And so that goes into the area of how we think. You see, apparently our brain works in these neurotransmitters, and these neurotransmitters formulate these paths, these neural pathways. For example, in where I live is quite a dangerous world, and so if my wife says to me she's going to be home at 7:30 in the evening, and she's not home by 7:30, I begin to wonder where she is. And the first way in which my brain works, the first neural pathway that begins to track my mind is, I hope she's safe. When I haven't heard from her by about 7:45, I'll call her or I'll message her. Now my mind is starting to go further down this road of fear and anxiety. And by 8:10 and she still isn't here, I'm just about to get up and phone the police or to go in my car and look for her when she strolls in and says, "Hi honey, I'm home." And my response is, "Hey, I'm so glad to see you." No. My response is, because my mind has tricked me, my mind has seen this incredible crime taking place of her being kidnapped and all kinds of stuff. I say, "Why don't you keep your phone on? I've been calling you." "Oh, sorry, it's in the bottom of my handbag and it was on silence." Hey man, it doesn't help. That's what our mind does. And so if we can kind of control our minds, if we can bring our minds into some sort of life-giving neural pathways, we're going to lead well. Now, the Apostle Paul, he writes in Romans chapter 12 and verse 2, he writes these words. He says, "Don't copy the behaviors and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think." Peter, he writes the scripture in 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 13, and he says, "So prepare your minds for action and exercise self-control." The King James version of that 1 Peter scripture says, "Gird up the loins of your mind." Prepare your mind for action. Because it's in the area of your mind that you're going to determine as to your behavior and your beliefs. You're going to generate thoughts and ideas and be creative in the way in which you think. As I've kind of tried to figure out, well, how do I exercise my mind? How do I investigate beliefs that I've held on to for such a long time that are potentially so destructive? I've got a couple of ideas. Now, I have blogged on this, and I'm not sharing the same thoughts that I shared on my blog, and you can go read my blog. But the first thing is the gift of the pause. That's where this idea of contemplation or reflection or meditation is so useful. Because it's there that we can think about our thinking. It's in that space of quietness where we shut out all the noises, all the demands, all the interruptions. And we can start reflecting and thinking about how our responses were in the last 24 hours. We can start thinking about thoughts, that broken relationship. Let me think about it. Let me pause and give it some consideration. Try and exercise silence in your life. It seems that, again, the neuroscientists would tell us that creating silence and pause and stillness, it builds up the reserves of the mind for self-control and for discipline, and to think new thoughts and to be creative. The second thing, which is not something that I'm overly familiar with, and I don't necessarily do this too often, but this is the idea of creating mantras. They can be songs, uplifting songs that you sing, or Bible verses that you repeat, or other quotes and sayings that are very precious and very, very important to you. I have this saying from Jean Talhel de Chardin. I never say that well, and my wife just laughs at me when I try to do this French thing. But he says, we're not human beings seeking a spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings seeking the human experience. That quote, it resonates, and I play it over and over in my mind and my heart, because I'm seeking God in the midst of every day, every interaction. Not all the time, but I want to be conscious. I want to be thinking in that way, and to say, well, how does this experience, as a result of that quote, help me to see that I am actually engaging what it means to be a human being? That God is inside of me, that He's with me, and that I have friendship and fellowship with Him. And therefore I can love other people. And so these are the mantras, these are the kind of thought processes that are life-giving. And then the third thing, and something that I do a lot, it helps me to rethink my thinking, to interrogate long beliefs that perhaps don't give life, and that's to write your thoughts down. If I think of some of the challenges that I've had in my life, things about directions for our church, directions for Christine in my life, even the way in which I've gone about in the establishment of this vlog, this movement that I hope will contribute to you and me being more human. I wrote things down. I wrote, what is my mission? How do I want to do this? Who do I need to learn from? Where are the resources that are going to help me to think in ways that are life-giving? If you want to grow spiritually, if you want to grow your business, if you want to grow the dynamics within your family, if you want to grow as a human being, if you want to grow in any aspect of life, it is so important that we understand how we think and why we think the way we think. So thinking is the first part of what I think it takes to grow spiritually. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been relevant to you. If you have enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel, and more than that, ask me questions, give me your comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks very much.